Hello, all you beautiful and wonderful people, and welcome back. We have got ourselves today awesome 4v4, and right now you are overlooking the beautiful city of Athens. We are looking at this from the Temple Mount, the Temple of Athena right up here. And this one is a battle that I actually did on my stream the other day, and it just ended up being a really good battle, so I thought it would be a fun one to come back and look at this from the other side, looking at the other players and how their sides win, things like that. And so I was able to get the defender's view of this battle. So I'm going to go ahead and put back on all the unit cards and everything, and we'll go over some of the factions. So, defending the city of Athens, we have no Athenians. First off, we have right here as Kush. Kush is being brought by Solo Wing Pixie, and he's got a pretty standard Kush army. A lot of Shotel warriors. He brought multiple of the Kushite archers. I think he's got three of them, and then his gen, I believe, is a royal Kushite archer, making four archers. There's his gen right there. We are using the Ancient Empires mod for this one, so some of the units look a little bit different. Now it's the Ancient Empires look mod. It just changes the looks of the units, not the actual gameplay. But also defending, we have Bowie being brought by Dan. And then over here you could see some of Tylus, and then there's a lot of Tylus on the other side. And Tylus is being commanded by Not So Royal. Then finally, we've got Seleucid. Seleucid being commanded by Ulfer. I forgot to go over the army comp. Sorry about that. But Bowie has got two Oathsworn, four sword followers, four Celtic bows, three more sword followers over here, and then up against the wall, he has two Celtic warriors. Seleucid here is got, let's see, a combination of some hillmen, and a thorax pike here, a Persian hoplite, two Persian hoplites, three Persian hoplites, four Persian hoplites. Very heavy hoplite army here for Seleucid. Four units of Syrian archers. Although, where is the fourth? The fourth is on this building right here. Now this building is going to be kind of interesting. I'll show you guys something with it here soon. He's got some silver shield pikes, and look at how these guys look with this mod. Oh, they look so cool. Wait till they get their pikes out, and I'll show you they look awesome. Silver shield swordsmen, the awesome red shields. Red shields for the silver shields, right? Some thorax swords. I believe that is it for the defenders. As the attackers, we've got kind of overlapped here. We have the combination of Egypt and Swaby. Swaby is being commanded by Deviantic, and Egypt is being commanded by Fight Me. Swaby's got a combination of Bloodsworn. I think he's got like 6 or 7 Bloodsworn, 2 Spear Walls, Club Levy, lot of Bloodsworn back here. So honestly, he's probably more like 7 or 8 Bloodsworn. He did bring a German Giant Ballista. And then Egypt here, it's got some Levy Throw Spears, Carrying Axeman Gen, couple Thorax Swords here, 3 units looks like, and 2 Galatian Swords. Then on his towers up here, he's got 2 Thorax Swords, 3 Thorax Swords, and then he did bring mostly the mercenary Cretan archers, and then 1 Nubian bow. Then right next to him, we have most of Carthage, and Carthage being commanded by Daku Gaming. And he has got a lot of Libyan infantry. Most of his infantry is the Libyans. Libyan infantry, they look awesome with these tall, I think it's called the Skutos shield. Then Cretan archers, I believe 3 Cretan archers and 1 Balearic slinger. And I think he brought 2 noble swords, General's bodyguard, mercenary Iberian swords, and then finally we have Galatia, and Galatia is being commanded by myself. And I have got Mercenary Cappadocian Cav, a bunch of Galatian Legionaries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units of Galatian Legionaries. 5 units of Galatian swords. I've got 2 here on these siege towers. These guys look awesome. The Galatian Legionaries, I think, look great too. I love these shields that they've got. And I've got 3 Syrian archers and 1 Galatian spear. Here's the 2 noble fighters for Carthage. He also has more of his Libyan infantry and a mercenary Italian sword over here. I also brought a Celtic giant ballista. So let's go ahead and get this one going. Get started here. As you can see, I did actually move a little bit forward into this battle just because there was a little bit of a slow push-up by the artillery here. And as you can see on this right side, we've got a heavy crossfire coming in from the 2 ballistas coming in on the Libyan infantry. We honestly thought that they were going to go for this. With this here, with the noble fighters, I'm kind of surprised they didn't. And then all the way over here, we have Tylus's ballista basically trying to get some side angle shots into the troops of like Swaby and Egypt. But as you can see, Carthage is starting to move up. His tortoise is getting shot pretty heavy here by Kush. It is at, let's see, 58%. I'm sorry, these Libyan infantry just look really, really good. And then here Swaby has some of his longbow hunters, which have stock, so that's why we couldn't see them originally. He's going to try and get some fire arrow shots onto this ballista and put it out of commission. He got a great, look at that, that was, sometimes that doesn't work very well, but he got it pretty easy there. Now, I used my towers here, and I actually pushed them up here to use their scorpions on top of the towers to shoot over at the crew of this ballista, because then, now that the ballista is out of commission, I can start moving my towers out of the protection. Like, they're protecting my ballista right now. Now I can start moving them out of the way, and I can start using my own ballista. Because look at this, my angle right here gives me a great shot over this entire plaza here, which is one of the hardest parts about attacking this settlement, is this plaza right here, because you can easily set up so many of your archers in these places, or slingers. You know, Tylus, if he had his slingers over here, it would be a great spot for them. So, but if it's being suppressed by artillery fire, it really helps basically kind of kick the defenders out of this area. Makes it hard to keep reinforcements within range to continue to support the front lines. Couple walls coming down here by Carthage, and then we've got some siege towers and another tortoise coming up from Egypt. Now, I'm not sure what his plan is with these, because if he brings this tortoise and busts this wall down, he's not going to be able to land his towers on this wall. Once you have, once you have destroyed a wall that has no way off of it, you can no longer land siege towers on that wall. So I don't think there's any examples right now, but if this tortoise takes out this section of wall right here, this section of wall cannot be landed by these siege towers, because then the units will be stuck on that wall, so the game won't allow you to do it. Over here, Tylus has a lot of stuff over here getting ready for this kind of small push by Carthage and Swaby. You know, a very small amount of units here, really sent here just to kind of draw out the defenses and draw things away from over here. And here comes in the shots from my artillery. Just once again trying to get some shots in on these back troops from Kush. You know, trying to get some really good hits on these, you know, reserve units, and make them kind of scared to keep them there. Got 2 units of Libyan infantry come in from Carthage. I think he went in a little early in this, because he's a little unsupported. He only has 2 units here, but Seleucid here is going to be able to reinforce this easily. So we really need to get some troops up there to support that. We have a foothold, and this could be as much of a foothold as we get in this area is right now. Most of the time, you're not getting past this rubble pile, and we have a foothold already. So this is really good for us. We just really need to get troops up there to support it. Then some Kushite slaves going out on these mercenary Italian swords, which are losing. And then look, we got another unit into the breach, which is really handy. Living infantry, but these Shotel warriors are going to be very painful. And then we got some archer fire coming in from Kush into that fight right. Now I've got archers moving up here. I think I was trying to come up, bring my archers here to support Carthage's archers against Seleucid. Seleucid archers will, the Syrian archers, one, there's 4 of them, but the other fact that they're just a better archer unit will beat these. But if we have 6 archers, we will be able to beat that and win that combat. Look at this. I was talking about how this will become kind of important here. Look at this shot that this has. But here's the issue. These buildings are glass cannons. So it just got hit once. Now, give it a sec here. But this is getting great archer fire onto this breach right here. Get some shots in, but look at this. The building is gone, and that entire archer unit is now dead. That was huge for us. We noticed that they were on there. We knew that these buildings are just super easy to destroy. So we were like, dude, I targeted immediately, and boom, there they went. Seleucid didn't have any chance of getting those archers off of there. Now, I do have some of my Galatian legionaries coming in to support this fight, but it was just too late. The Persian, or the Libyan infantry here, sorry about that, has just broke. There were 2 units here, and one of them was dead, and the other one, I think, just shattered. So now, instead of having those 3 or 4 units in this breach, now we just have the 1. Now, this Galatian legionary is very good. But it's being triple teamed. You know, you have Persian 2 units, no, quadruple even. 2 units of Persian hoplites and 2 units of thorax swords going against the 1 Galatian legionary. So now I basically dropped these towers because at this point, right now, they're not really useful to me. So I dropped them, and I'm taking the Galatian sword off of them, and I'm putting them into combat to once again try and grab a foothold here and see if we can hold it, and then once getting more units, another Galatian sword, and then bringing my Galatian legionaries up to continue supporting that. More already coming in, right into the archers. Oh, look at that beautiful arty hit. Look at, these Royal Peltis, I'm sorry, but the Royal Peltis with this mod look so fantastic. Look at that, guys. Okay, I don't usually spend a lot of time on the cinematic stuff, but sometimes you just have to stop for a second to get a really cool screenshot. So as you can see, Carthage is really pushing hard into this breach. We got 4 units coming in here, but he's got to be careful because Seleucid has a thorax pikeman here coming to support, and at the moment we don't have a lot here to deal with it. Now I'm getting a Galatian sword onto this wall. At this point that I was doing this wall artillery still had some ammo, so I honestly was just moving over to get rid of this. We also sent one of the mercenary Italian swords over here with the tortoise to bust this down, just as hey, there's a hole over in this wall, you better keep an eye on it. My artillery, at this point, I think, 54 kills, 55, so doing pretty well there. And now I've got a couple of my tower units, disembarked from the towers. Because once again, at this point, I don't really need them at the moment, so I can use these units to go into this breach with Carthage. Yeah, over here, those 2 units I sent in are getting beat up pretty bad. The Galatian Legionary is at, I think it was 94, and the Galatian Sword's at 46. I mean, 29 kills. The Galatian sword in the breach is still holding on there. And then hopefully we'll get some of these reinforcements into this breach soon. Because there's a lot of defensive troops sitting here waiting for us. Now over here we've got some thorax swords coming in on the Shotels. The Shotels are winning that combat. Doesn't, it definitely makes sense. Doesn't surprise me just because of that armor piercing that the Shotels get. Getting some slave spears up on the wall here. Just honestly, probably getting ready to throw javies down through this breach. See, we've got the Silver Shield pikes still. Dude, they also just look so awesome. Got the Syrian archers, which fell back a little bit just because of all the archer power that was sitting here. I have actually, at this point, I took my archers and I brought them over this way to help deal with these pikes. Because right now we don't really have anything to deal with these pikemen at the moment. So you can see we pulled out of that breach for now just because it wasn't a good idea. But at this point, Seleucid is now running his pikes away. So if I can get my archers up here quick enough, I can actually start getting some shots into the back of those thorax pikes. The Royal Peltis getting ready to come in and support. But look at this. This breach is just getting really, really jam-packed here. Fire arrows, I think Swaby just at this point had forgotten to turn off his fire arrows from destroying the ballista earlier. But he's trying to shoot into the back of like these sword followers and stuff like that. And we're just trying to get some good pushes into this breach again. And what we decided is, we just decided at this point to take my infantry and run them over to this side at this point, just because Carthage and Swaby have quite a bit here. And we need a little bit more troops on this side, because honestly at this point, we really felt that this was our best push so far. We had a really good foothold, especially now that we had pushed the pikes off. But you can see the Bowie Eye is starting to rush things over into this to help on it. We also saw that, well, I guess I should say, I saw really good side shots into this breach right here. The sword follower is getting hit really hard, up to 84 kills on that ballista. So we have a really good shot on the defense of this breach right here. As you can see, it is getting really, really thin on this breach. We have a lot of troops here with not a lot of defenders. Got a Syrian archer here trying to counter off my Syrians. And I don't think I had seen him at this point, so right now they're getting some free kills on me. Now the sword followers coming in to help hold this breach. We've got some Galatian swords, 2 Galatian swords and 1 Galatian legionary, and then 1 Galatian sword coming off the wall and dropping down onto the floor here. Oh, look at those shots, man. We pulled out. So I called the command for Carthage and myself to leave this breach so that we could get clean, free shots down the line here. Just because we didn't want to risk our own men to stray shots, we just decided to pull out of that breach real quick and just get some really nice volleys from the artillery. These Persian hoplites, they all, like, I think it's the Persian hoplite. Got some shots coming in from, or I think it's the javies from the Iberian swords here. A lot of those Iberian swords. I made the same mistake that Deviantic made. I had fire arrows on my archers because I was going to try and take out this ballista with them, and I forgot to turn them off. So I'm just using wasteless ammo. So that was a big boo-boo. And I don't know why I'm not focusing down this unit of archers here. Well, that's why. Because I am focusing down the pikes and trying to deal as much damage to them as I can. Because otherwise, that's our biggest enemy right here, is the pikes. You know, the fact that our infantry, my infantry specifically, can do very well against a lot of theirs. But those pikes are something that the only answer we have are the archers. So we're just laying into it. More arty fire coming in. Look how bad this defensive line has gotten now. The artillery is up to 136 kills and just ripping apart this breach defense. Over here we got thorax swords, Bloodsworn, and Club Levy and Bloodsworn coming into this breach. And now we kind of have a free entrance into the city right now. We can get in here as we're pushing through this breach. And if we even wanted to, we could send another unit this way. Yep, looks like Swaby is right now. Double Silver Chevron Bloodsworn. Now the issue is that they are going to get shot up by these Kushite Royal Archers. Royal Peltis starting to move forward. Look at these bad boys. They look so awesome. We got the Thorax Sword, or the Silver Shield, sorry, coming in to try and wipe out that Swaby unit. We got a small Persian Hoplite unit holding the gate. And then we pushed in with a Libyan infantry, and I think we should, yep, there we go, Galatian swords coming in. Still pushing into this. The pikes are getting really beat up. They're down to 45 men now. I don't think they engaged. Yeah, so on this side, they didn't even engage. They just pulled away from this side, which I don't think is a bad idea at all. It's very well defended, and the couple units they had here would just got slaughtered. But once again, it is extending the defense. Now the defenders have to think about this spot. You know, they have to remember that that spot is open, and they have to honor that. Big push coming in. Look at that. Thorax swords into the tribal warriors, and now some Bloodsworn starting to get into the backs of these tribal warriors here in the breach. So really good flanking going on. Great job by the attackers here. Now the defenders are doing a very good job of keeping things supported as much as they can. You know, we got the Gen coming in on this side to help protect this breach with the Libyan infantry and the Galatian swords. Over here, we've got the Boei archers trying to shoot into these attackers from myself and Carthage. And then, look, another Gen. Got the Osworn Gen in here. And that is one thing that we have an issue with, that I don't have elite units, so I don't have anything that can go against these Osworn. And I think Carthage has his noble fighters here, but look at them. They are already pretty badly beat up at this point. So it wouldn't be a fresh unit versus a fresh unit. Now my Galatian swords got a little extended here. They started moving over this way, and these Silver Shield pikes, I told you I'd show you what these guys look like. Look at that. They look awesome with those red pikes. That is so cool. Oh, that is awesome. But now I'm just trying to keep my Galatian swords out of those pikes, because that's just not good for me. Got a bunch of archers here, 2 units from Boei and 2 units from Seleucid, countering off my Syrians. My Syrians are really just doing as much as they can to shoot down the pikes. You know, that was our biggest worry, honestly, rather than the archers, was the pikes. Our armor would have held up decent against the archers, but the pikes we had just no answer for. A spear wall and a club levy coming in, and then we got a group of spear wall up against the sword followers. A little bit of a gap here. If we had a unit, whoops, hit the wrong thing. If we had a unit, we might be able to get through the gap here. Once again, this side here is getting pretty beat up. Got a Libyan or a Iberian sword up on the wall that's getting shot really bad by the Boei Celtic bows. Now here you can see we've got a big push from Egypt. What is it? 2 Galatian Royal Guard? No, just 1 Galatian Royal Guard, 1 Galatian sword coming in on this. Then a really good arty fire coming from Swaby. I personally think Swaby left his... I think he put his arty way too far back. He probably should have had it like here, because his range is going to be pretty limited. I don't know if it'll show us. No. Doesn't show us where the range, but I think his range was ending like here or something like that. So unfortunately, he just did not get a whole lot of range out of that. So as they're pulling out of this area, he's losing a lot of his ability with that arty because it's so far away. Now you can see we've got a really good foothold here. I've got 2 Galatian Legionaries and 3 Galatian Legionaries here pushing into these sword followers, and they are starting to lose this plaza here. Seleucid's general is still stuck in combat with the Galatian legionaries and Galatian swords. He does still have the opportunity where he could pull out if he needs to, but depending on how this goes, he won't have much longer. More arty fire coming in on the archers. You know, I had some really good shots on the gens. I just personally always try to avoid gen sniping if I can avoid it. If it was dire straits, I would maybe consider it, but, you know, I try to avoid that kind of stuff. It just is considered kind of cheesy. So I had really good opportunities. I could have shot either of these gens, but I just decided not to because I guess for some reason I'm a semi-nice person. But the Oathsworn are 86 kills and the Royal Peltas are at 93. Man, those Royal Peltas look so good. This breach here is starting to fail. You could see the breach is really kind of turned into this curved area. Now, if Egypt really needs to turn in on this, but I'm assuming he's microwaving somewhere else, probably over here. The Galatian Royal Guard with 132 kills going against the Gallo-Thracians, and then a Galatian sword versus a tribal warrior, which it looks like the tribal warrior is losing right now. And now we're trying to get our cavalry in. I've got my Cappadocians coming up, and then Swaby has got his Riders of the Hunt in here. Once again, probably microwaving somewhere because there's some opportunities that we're starting to miss out on. And I am trying to get shots in on this because I'm also about to lose range. I think my range is like right in here for my artillery, so I'm trying to get some shots. I actually wasn't targeting the general. I was actually targeting the tribal warrior, but as the shot, the tribal warriors obviously kept walking, and so the gens ended up walking into the place where the artillery was targeted on. Now my arty, though, is up to 240 kills that it has gotten in these areas. The artillery did very, very well for me. I was very happy with it. Now, as you can see, like, we're pretty decently healthy, I would say. I'm pretty beat up. Carthage is pretty beat up, but Swaby and Egypt have a solid amount of units. So far for defense, it looks like Seleucid is probably the lowest. Although, I don't know, because Kush is pretty low. But Kush does have a ace up his sleeve. He's got the elephants here. So they do have something fun they might be able to do. Now, my Cappadocians ended up getting caught in combat here. I'm trying to kind of get them out of that, but they keep getting caught up and being pulled back into combat. So I didn't do a very good job of, you know, pushing their way away or just getting out of that combat. Riders of the Hunt charged over here and just got javied to hell by the tribal warrior line. So at first we didn't realize how much was over here, but very briefly we got a glimpse from the Riders of the Hunt that there was a large Tylus force over in this area, because if not, we may have like explored coming over this way or something. But for right now, there's a very just large unit or force there to stop us. As you can see, we're starting to try and like get organized, get our men into the city and into position. Cavs just trying to be a nuisance, trying to catch, you know, units that are running away. See if we can get them with their backs turned. I always love this map just from this the point of the temple mount up here is just very, very cool. The Temple of Athena, just gorgeous, gorgeous. Got some really cool screenshots from this area in the past. So it looks like we got some Celtic bows back on the point, and we've got some Seleucid archers. I'm not 100% sure where all this is going. But we have a lot of Seleucid pushing away from the combat. I'm not sure why. Once again, I was on the attacking side, so a lot of this stuff we couldn't see happening. I had no idea any of this was happening, that's for sure. But as you can see, they're starting to set up their defenses kind of in an angle like this, using the building here. You know, this stuff right in here. What's cool about this is you can get archers here to shoot out if you have them. They finish off that Gallothracian unit here, and once again, just starting to march forward and get our units closer and closer to doing our final push. So you see a lot of us are making a big push down this way, and then we're going to take some units and we're going to come right down this way and push on the left as well. And then we'll, at this point, we knew that there were units here, so we're going to set some stuff here to help defend there. The African elephants are moving back towards the point. And once again, I'm not sure, 100% sure what Seleucid's doing. He's got 2 Hillman units that that are all the way back here. I'd have to ask Ulfer what was going on. I mean, we might find out here soon anyways. Still got a pretty healthy unit of pikes, the Silver Shields here. 136 men. We got the Peltis. That's a cool combo here. The Peltis and the Silver Shields put, you know, side by side. Might go ahead and fast forward a little bit here as the armies start moving forward, getting into our attack positions. Where, as you can see there, we are capturing that tower so it doesn't keep shooting us in the back. I might even make a cut here. As you can see, we are now much closer to the combat here. Right over here on the defense against the Tylus, the Tylus army. We have a combat coming in from the Sword Masters against the Celtic Warriors, and that is when we noticed that the elephants had worked their way all the way around to the back here, which I thought it was a pretty good move. But we kind of guessed that they were going to do that, so we did set some archers over here just to be prepared for it. I do think one mistake that we made here, and, you know, it's one of those things that it happens. There was a reason we did this, or that Daku did this. Daku moved a lot of his infantry over to this side. One, we were obviously worried about the very large Tylus force, but we were also worried about the elephants, so he had moved a lot of his infantry over here just for the Pila use, which, I mean, once again, that's not a terrible idea, but it really kind of took quite a bit of our force away from the front lines. And I didn't realize it at this point, so my infantry is going into combat here, and it ends up going, I end up going in pretty well unsupported against some Celtic warriors, an Oathsworn, and some tribal warriors, and I didn't realize that the backup that I had from Carthage had moved away. Once again, you know, it's one of those things, stuff happens, you know, I understand why we did this. We sent these units here to help deal with that unit, but it ended up kind of hurting us in the long run because we didn't have enough to continue pushing on this side immediately. As you can see, my infantry is really getting beat up here. Galatian Legionaries down to 103, and then this one down to 101. And then I have another unit of 110 coming up. But all I've got here is Galatian Spears, and then we have some Carthaginian Slingers and Archers as well. And now you can see we have a big push is coming down this street. We got some Egyptian infantry, thorax swords, bloodsworn, Levy-throw spears coming in on this side. Seleucid general getting ready to support again. Then the elephants backed away. They saw the archers, so I think that was a good move, getting out of that before losing too much for no reason. Egypt still has carrying axemen, Galatian swords, and then still has a Galatian legionary as well. These guys are very cool looking. I really like the Ancient Empire's unit mod. I think it just gives a really cool look to a lot of the units. As you can see, a lot of death happening over here. My Galatian Legionnaires are not getting a lot of kills. Last time we saw them, they were not much lower in kills than the way they are. And then these guys are at 68, but they're just getting beat up here, especially now got the Silver Shield Pikes in combat. Carthage is trying to do as much as he can with his slingers and his Cretan archers to get some suppressive fire into these units, but they do have some slingers that were starting to pelt into them as well. A big counter push coming from the Oathsworn, push forward into the Galatian spears, and I'm just going to try and get my Galatian spears out of that. Still a really nice push here from Swaby, getting into these Shotel warriors. And a lot of these Egyptian units, the Galatian Royal Guard still here. Still the carrying axemen, a lot of archers still. My cav is still running around, and then once again, this is kind of, where we, as you can see, we kind of realized that we made that mistake, and we're starting to move these units back towards back towards the front. We got some Javies, and I think we had an archer around here somewhere as well. Big push. So I believe this unit, this Celtic warrior, came along the walls and got off here. So I've got some units here, some of my leftover units trying to put it down. And then I'm going to do some cycle charges here with my gen, because I just don't have enough units to take it on. It's too big of a unit for mine to defeat. Got some berserkers coming in, and now he's going to pull them out just because they would have been surrounded. So I'm using my Galatian spears to basically just kind of hold off this tribal warrior. So now he's going to put him into combat with the tribal warriors here. But as you can see, right now we don't have a lot of support in this little area. I'm trying to countercharge this as much as possible to put it down. So I'm cycling in and out with the Carthage general. Which, if you can get set up for that, it does very well if you can have your own cav and an allied cav. Oh, this is going to hurt. The Royal Peltis came through, snuck through here, and flanked around the back of the Swaby Bloodsworn. The Swaby units are not going to like that very much at all. Now, Swaby does a really good counter flank. He's going to now surround the Royal Peltis, which, being surrounded, is not going to do very well. So that is a really good move there by Swaby. He saw the counter flank, and honestly, I almost wonder if it's worth it to kill the gen. Although Swaby doesn't have a whole lot. Once again, I'm not really 100% sure why these units are all the way back here. They could have been used at some point, I'm sure. Got some more charges. Carthage didn't realize that his gen had overcommitted and gotten in here, so I was like, hey, your gen, hurry, get him out. So I am now taking my Cappadocian cap, and I'm going to try and get around into some stuff if I can. I'm getting right into these archers. It was a small unit, so I don't think he realized it was coming. So hopefully get some kills in here before these Oathsworn come in and surround me and kill me. Now, Seleucid made a boo-boo here. He's got his Silver Shield Pikes here in combat, and they don't have their pikes out. So that was a whoopsies. I'm not sure why Egypt doesn't have his Galatian Royal Guard getting into combat. He has a lot of troops that he probably could have gotten engaged, but here's the big push from Tylus now coming in on the back. Oh man, I'm sorry, we missed it, but the elephants did come in, and the the longbow hunters from Swaby were all here getting ready ready for it. So the elephants ended up being defeated. Got a push from the tribal warriors, and I'm not really sure why he's running away. Like, I think he probably should just keep pushing into that. Like, yeah, this is gonna hurt, but they have the armor to deal with it. They've got 95 armor. Getting really low on troops here. The carrying axemen are now starting to get chewed up. They're down to 148 men, and that's the gen for Egypt. And now I've got my gen, once again, just trying to, run around and find places that I can sneak through. I probably missed a really good opportunity to get through this. Here's oh man, more, they're hillmen, but it's men coming in, more men coming in from Seleucid, moving into this combat, or they might even move this way too. Swaby is just holding this back flank as hard as he possibly can, holding this small breach. Jin at 116 kills, and then Swordmaster's at 127, 137. Oh man, that Galatian Royal Guard really probably should have been left up here. Just miscommunication. I thought we did a very good job at communicating for most of the battle. But it gets hectic. You're going, you make mistakes. Everybody does. I honestly, that mistake I made of pushing in here with no support from Carthage, that really, really was, I can say whatever I want, but I should have noticed that I didn't have any backup, and going into this was a fruitless attack, and that was very, very bad on my part. It left me with pretty much no infantry, because had I held on to that, we would have a combination of my legionaries and the Carthaginian infantry here. So that was a huge screw up on my part. Just a lack of map awareness, lack of, keeping an eye on what's happening around me and not being, fully focused on one particular spot. It's one of those things, you live and you learn, you move on and you try to get better and not make the same mistakes twice. Silver Shield Pike's kind of holding back here, I think, just trying to avoid these archers if it can. And now we got a big push coming from Carthage. Carthage has most of what we have left, and I'm trying to get some charges into these units here because it's a very weak Shotel warrior and it's an archer unit. So the archers aren't going to be too much of a threat to me, and the Shotel warrior is very, very small and weak, so I could get some really good hit and runs in there. So it ended up being good that Galatia sent his Galatian Royal Guard over here because, as you can see, Swaby eventually was defeated, and had the Galatian Royal Guard not been here, he would have, Titus would have just been able to easily walk into our back and just run us over. This Galatian Royal Guard are going to be very, very good. The main thing that was going to be rough for them is the Oathsworn there. Now the pikes are here, now set up in this area, basically because we don't have anything we could do against them anymore. Our archers are pretty much all out of ammo at this point, and our cav and infantry can't really do anything to that Silver Shield Pike, which is a very, very good unit. So at this point, it is basically just trying to find as many, tactical advantages that we could possibly find. Getting in on flanks, exposing the cracks in the defense, getting in and around units, surrounding things, moving in, using our cav to effect. That is our best hope at this point. Because you can see that the defenders really don't have a whole ton of stuff left. These hillmen, yes, that is 320 men there, but they are not very good units. So most of our units will beat them, but it's just a matter of us getting into them in a way that we can get the advantage. Once again, I think I dilly-dallied around too much with my cavalry. There's a lot of exposed areas here that I could get in around units. Just bad micro on my part. there's even areas here where I could get through. Now, I believe Egypt's Galatian Regard was finally defeated. I'm not sure if they shot them with like their javies or the slingers, but you can see that they're no longer here. So Swaby's just threw the longbow hunters in there to try and slow it down as much as possible. Now we got some Cretan archers going into combat with the Hillmen. The Hillmen are going to win that one. And then I've got my cav coming around. I was thinking of coming here, but they were breaking anyways, so I just decided to try and come in and maybe get around units. So Bowie, I thought I was going to come this way. Thought I was coming here, so he moved this way. I actually turned and snuck my way right through the crack in the defense. And I'm just going to keep running through because, if they catch one or two guys, that's fine, but they don't have my entire unit locked down. So most of my unit can get in and get through here. Just trying to be smart with my cav. At this point, really just trying to get some kills. Trying to get in on exposed units that are out of formation. Maybe kill these archers, Thracian Peltists. If they can get some of those down, that could trigger army losses. It just, I'd rather do that than just give up and not do anything with them. Carthage also still has his general left. He's weak, almost half health, but he is still there, so he is actually moving his gen this way as I'm moving my gen this way. And that is pretty much it for our armies. Most of his army is retreating, routing. So it's pretty much just the two generals at this point. And I'm sure you could probably guess by now that is pretty much going to be game. We're going to get as many kills as we can at this point. The gen coming in this way while I'm coming through here. And because these are all archers, I'm pretty much just going to bring my gen through them and try and get turned around and maybe get some cycle charges in with the Carthaginian general. But she brought the general's bodyguard, which is not the best. It's not the, so Carthage has two different. It's got the general's bodyguard, which is only 40 men. But then they have one that's called Noble Horse, which is 80, and it is a very good heavy cavalry unit. So he didn't have the really good one, but it's still another cav unit that I can use to, cycle in and out with. But you can see he is about to break. He's wavering. Army loss is triggering in on us. I am at 230 kills on my gen, but he is also wavering from army losses. So we're just going to... Nope. I was going to say we're going to try and keep getting charges in, but mine just broke. And then his is at 130 kills and broken. Yep. So that is army losses, and that is the game. Let's end this replay and go look at some kills. So, solo up here, 2,035 kills. His archers all did pretty well, except for this one. I'm assuming they got shot. Got overpowered by other archers. Elephants didn't do fantastic. His Shotels did very well. 200, 119, 148, 162, and 186. Oh, and 261. Not so royal as Tylus with 1557. He had a lot of troops left. 131 on the gen. His Peltis and Slingers didn't do great. 104 on this one. Celtic Warrior with 149, 90, 106. And then his Tylus, the Tribal Warriors, 116, 179. So pretty solid there. 115 on the Gallithracians. Dan is Bowie with 2,200 kills, most in the game. No, most on their team at least. Archers did pretty good for Celtic bows. 146, 133, 217, and 190. 108 on the Oathsworn, but you can see he's still very healthy. He had a lot of kills left in him. 145 and 205, once again, same thing, still very healthy, had a lot of kills left. And then his sword followers all did fantastic. 182, 156, 153, 142. Then Ulfr is Seleucid. This, I believe, is the archer that was on the building that blew up. 102, 139, 154, so very good with them. 152 on the Silver Shield Pike, 135 on the Royal Peltis, 319 on the Silver Shield. Then his Thorax Sword's 180, 114, and look at the Pillman, 145, 166. Now I believe those were archers, but it still kills. And 105. On my side, I got 1,900 kills. 229 on my gen, 59 on the Cappadocians. My archers did okay. I didn't do great with them. I'll be honest with you. 105, 138, 121 on the infantry, and then my Galatian swords 230, 90. So solid with them, and then 240 with my ballista. I definitely could have gotten. I definitely could have done better with this. Fight me with 2,300 kills. That was the most in the game. Gen just 61. His thorax swords though 151, 142. Pretty good with them. Galatian Royal Guard 264, 144, 169, and then 202 on the Galatian swords. His archers did very well 156, 173, and 146. Daku with 101, 94, 147. Then his infantry, the Libyans, 109, 102. His Noble Swords did, or Noble Fighters, 147, 143. Maybe could have done a little better with those guys. But it doesn't help if you get shot, stuff like that. So, it happens. Deviantic with 1965. His archers did pretty decent, 104, 74. His Bloodsworn did pretty well, man. 142, 169, 153, 132. And then his Swordmaster's 130, 137, and 84 on the Ballista. So that is going to be it for this battle replay today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. This one was a lot of fun to play on the stream, and even more fun to actually go back and look at it from that outside perspective where as a player, you have to concentrate really hardcore on what's going on. So sometimes you miss things that are happening in other places. So that's a cool aspect about doing this. But I truly hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit that like button. And I'd love to see your comments in the comment section. If you guys are new to the channel, forget to go hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.